Hello and welcome to my channel Tall Talks from a Short Lady. In this session, I'm going to introduce you to a few basic concepts of communication, and I feel that the best place to start would be with a few definitions. Now, what I have for you first is a classic definition from 1959 by Martin Anderson, and he says communication is the process by which we understand others and in turn endeavor to be understood by them. It is dynamic, constantly changing, and shifting in response to the total situation. Now, when I read this definition, to be very honest, I found it extremely long, and it took me quite a while to understand what he's trying to say. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to filter down his definition to three words, which I feel are most important in this definition. The first one being that communication is an act where we understand others, where we want others to understand them. And most importantly, communication is dynamic. I want you to remember this word because I'm going to be talking about it a little more in detail in the slides ahead. Moving on to the next definition, this is from the Oxford Dictionary. And as you can see, it's mercifully short and more precise. And it says that communication is the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium. Now, what I like best about this definition are the three words where it says that communication is the exchanging of information. Now, moving on to the third and the last one that I have for you. This is a modern day definition, and perhaps this is the one that I like the most because this definition has something which is not there in the previous two definitions. So let me just read it for you. According to this, communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. Now, what caught my attention in this particular definition is the use of the word place, because in the previous two definition, the vision is a little myopic where they talk about communication as only between person to person. But this definition is a lot more inclusive in the sense it says that communication is possible from inanimate objects too. For example, the ozone layer, in the stratosphere, it is constantly giving out communication to us human beings that we need to stop abusing the earth. So that is why I feel this is the one definition which I like the most amongst all these three. So now that we have looked at the three definitions, I would like to look at some of the postulates of communication. Now, postulates refer to truths, facts that can be arrived at on the basis of reasoning and discussion. There are five postulates. There might be more, but these are the five that I would like to discuss. The first one says that one cannot not communicate. The second one says communication is interactive, communication is dynamic, it is contextual, and it is grounded in perspective. I'm going to be talking about each of these postulates in details. The first one says that one cannot not communicate. Now, the very fact that we are born with certain characteristics like our skin color. Now, looking at the skin color, you can pretty much tell the origin of a person. For example, if you look at me, you can immediately say that I am of Asian origin. Next, if you're looking at the physique of a person, you can understand whether the person is athletic in nature, whether he's undernourished, whether he or she is obese and lives like a slob. Similarly, those clothes that we wear tell a lot about our taste. It also tells about a monetary background, about the kind of clothes we can afford. Next, I'm going to be talking about the accessories that we use. For example, the jewelry, the watches, the shoes, the handbags that we carry, and even the spectacles that you choose tell a lot about you as a person. The next one, hairstyling, how long your hair is, what color you choose to wear, how you style it. All of these are constantly giving out communication about you, even when you don't want to. The next one, expressions. Our expressions pretty much tell about our predisposition, what kind of nature that we have, Our eye contact tells a lot about, what kind of a person we are, the gestures that we use, the postures, how you hold yourself, how you stand, how you sit, talks about you as a person. And the last one, your vocal quality. Even if you divest the vocal voice from the words that we say, the volume, the pitch, the tone, everything, screams out some kind of communication to the world at large. So, moving on to the next one, communication is interactive, by which I mean that it requires minimum two parties. You cannot have a communication until there is a sender and there is a receiver. So, you might ask me, what happens when I'm talking to myself? I'm giving myself a prep talk. In that case, also, you will notice that it is you talking to yourselves. It's something like me and to myself, my conscience. Moving on to the third one, it says that communication is dynamic. Now, what I mean by dynamic is that every communication is subject to change, and it changes on the basis of four factors. The first one is the interlocutors who are involved in the communication. Now, for example, if I ask you a question, how are you? You would probably answer me very formally, but if you're talking to your friend, you might be casual in your answer. You might even joke about it. Similarly, your communication changes on the basis of the time of the day. If you're not a morning person, if I ask you how you are, you might just give me a very grumpy and a brusque answer. Similarly, it depends on the situation. Suppose you're in a tearing hurry, you are in the elevator and somebody asks you how you are, you most probably would give a very cursory answer, and run away. The last one, it also depends on the place. If you are in a casual setup, the way you talk will be different than it is when you are in a more official setup. So that's what we mean by communication being dynamic, and it constantly changes depending on who's involved, the time of the day, the situation, and the place you are in. The fourth one says that communication is contextual. Now, what I mean by contextual is that we can communicate successfully when we have a shared background knowledge. For example, if two of you are discussing and saying that it's a shame we woke up so early, and the lecture didn't happen. Now, only people who have been for the lecture and the previous lecture got cancelled would actually know what you're talking about. So the shared background knowledge is important for communication to be successful. And more importantly, there should be a common topic. If you are talking about lecture, the other person should also be present on the same page, and he shouldn't be talking about maybe what he has got for lunch. So the need for a shared background and the need for a common topic is what I mean by communication being contextual. The fifth and the last one, it's perhaps one of the most important postulates of communication, is that it is grounded in perspective. Now, what I mean by perspective is that, all the past experiences we have and the associations we make with them helps to shape the kind of person we are. It helps to change our outlook and ultimately, to give us our perspective. To make this more clear, let me give you an example. Suppose on Monday I have a conference in Delhi, so I book myself a hotel room, and on Sunday I land at the airport. I check my mobile phone and I see that my battery is drained. So I just walk out of the airport and I see a cabbie. He, he says that he will take me to my hotel. So I hop into the cab, and after about 15 minutes, he drops me to my hotel. So while at the hotel, while I'm filling in all the necessary details at the reception, another person comes in and he, books the same room for 500 rupees lesser than I have paid online. So I'm already feeling a little disgruntled. I go up to my room, I put my phone on charge, and somehow the first thing I check is, the distance of the hotel from the airport, and I see that it is only a 3-minute walk away from the airport, and I realize that the cabbie took me for a ride. Now, just to change my mood, I go out for a walk. I go to Sarojini Market, and there I see this wonderful T-shirt by Tommy Hilfiger. I liked it so much, I decided to buy it for 3,000 rupees. Now, In the evening, I was supposed to meet a friend of mine. So I wear this t shirt, I meet my friend, and guess what? He's wearing the same t shirt. The moment he looks at me, he starts laughing and he asks me, "Where did you buy it from?" I said, "From Sarojini Market." And the next thing he says, "I hope you haven't paid more than 300 bucks." And that's the moment I realized that there again, I have been taken for a ride by somebody, and what I'm wearing is a knockoff. So you start feeling right from the morning, from the beginning of the day till the night, that every person you've met in Delhi has cheated you, so your perspective towards people in Delhi change, your associations change, and you start thinking that all people in Delhi are cheats and thugs. So the next time, if you meet a person from Delhi, the way you communicate with that person will change because your perspective towards Delhi people have changed. So this is exactly what I mean by communication being grounded in perspective. With that, I come to the end of the session. If you're interested in downloading this presentation, please visit my channel, which is called Tall Talks from a Short Lady. And with that, I will say thank you.